So every now and then I have the opportunity to have a conversation with a colleague and a friend about what we're doing in the industry. And Dan and I kind of cross over a little bit, but he's got some very unique skills in team dynamics and this whole process called lean. Now, some of my viewers will know what lean is. Well, a lot of them will know what lean is. Some will not. So, Dan, just share a little bit on what this whole idea of lean is.
Lean, first of all, the letters don't mean anything. It's
Okay.
just the word lean. Lean as opposed to fat, or in this case, as opposed to waste. It was a word that was applied to the Toyota production system 20, 30 years ago, and it kind of stuck. It means that the practices the things you practice at work involve respect for people. They involve collaborative problem solving. They involve value over waste. And what we don't realize is how much waste there is in this world, in our processes, in the work we do on a daily basis. So Toyota kind of invented the whole thing 50, 60 years ago. And as they got really good at it, the rest of the world started to notice. And so by the early 80s, most manufacturing was becoming lean manufacturing. And finally, in the early 90s to mid 90s, construction went, oh, we can do that. And so folks started figuring out how to apply lean principles to construction, design and construction. It actually is a cultural thing. It's a continuous improvement culture. There's a guy named Paul Akers who wrote a book called 2 Second Lean.
Right.
It's a great, easy read, and it's free. Download it for free. Yeah. And what he really means is every day, take 2 seconds and figure out something that you could do better. Whether it's turning the printer this way so you don't have to walk around it, or whatever it happens to be, just make your life a little bit better at work, at home, wherever.
Yeah.
2 seconds and get a little better. And what we know is that there's such a thing as compound interest. So as people get a little bit better, I'm supposed to go this way on the screen, a little bit better, that each improvement compounds on the other. And pretty soon, you've got an amazing amount of improvement in an organization.
So talk a little bit about how you've moved from traditional construction into managing all of these individuals, because in traditional construction, you got a few people kind of defining how everything works. So it's a lot simpler to deal with. And then you've got your world, which is all the people on the front lines.
Yeah. Well, way back then, I was pretty good project manager in construction. I also headed up some design teams, so I kind of got both sides in my background. But I was also a scheduler. I was since 1986, I started scheduling things, and principally in critical path method scheduling, P6, Microsoft project, that kind of thing. I've used both and a lot of others. I used to kid myself. I used to call myself the lone genius because I was not a genius at this, but it was up to me to come up with a schedule for a project. Boss would say, I got the good news and bad news. Good news is we got the job. The bad news is the owner wants a schedule in 3 days. And so I would pound out a schedule in 3 days. And you've probably done this.
Yeah.
You know that's not how we're going to build it.
Right.
You hand it to the superintendent, he laughs. And so the whole idea of a person or a committee, a small group of people,
right,
no matter how many years experience they have, knowing everything that's going to happen and properly on a project is folly. It's silly. And that's why 70% of projects don't meet their schedule, and 73% of projects don't meet their budget. But what I learned, and I stumbled across it in 2008 with when Dick Beyer, your friend and mine, who originally introduced us, What he and I were doing was we were hired as partnering facilitators on a prison project, a $7 billion prison healthcare project. What we learned for 19 months on this amazing project was all of the lean stuff, the ideas, and the last planner system. And we learned it from the people who invented it. So Greg Howell, Glenn Ballard, Iris Tomlin, and others, kind of the saints of the lean design and construction world, were the trainers on this project.
Wow.
So we learned at the feet of the master.
What an academy to sit in.
Oh, man. Every day was like grad school. It was cool.
One of the things that you've been involved in projects where it looked like, okay, we've got a lot more to work on, but the schedule is here and we've got this much more to do. And you were sharing earlier about the John Wayne Airport. What I'd like you to talk about is how that big room, Post-it notes and people, how you can change the dynamic of people who really are at each other's throats just by some simple facilitation approaches.
That phrase, "at each other's throats," was exactly what the superintendent at the John Wayne Airport said. This was a McCarthy job. And they were 3 months away from having to finish it. They had to finish. That was like a big deal because there were people that had to come in after them in order for Southwest Airlines to be able to open the terminal in time for the holidays. So September 9th was their drop dead date. This was mid-March or May rather. And the chief scheduler, Ken McBroom, very experienced at this, really knew this stuff, looked at the P6, the Primavera schedule, and said, we have 5 months worth of work to do, and we've only got 3 months worth of work time left to do it in.
So a little bit of pressure going down into everybody, huh?
I mean, it's only so many people you can put in one space. You know, there's only so many ways to cram things in. And so he said, let's try the last planner system. So parachuted in behind enemy lines. Okay, let's do it. But the superintendent said exactly what you said. These people are not getting along. They are at each other's throats. All the foremen are scrambling for work areas because it's gone so slowly, and we haven't been able to open up enough areas inside the building for them to work in conditioned spaces. And so you're good luck with this meeting, buddy. And so we convened it. It was for the last planner system. You go to the end milestone. In this case, it was finishing the project, and ask the question, what's the thing you do just before that, just before that, just before that? And so we assemble these folks in here, and instead of having them talk to each other and butt heads like they had been, we said, face the wall, and here's your color Post-it note. You each get a different color, and there's the end milestone over there. Go tell me what's the last thing you're going to do before that milestone. Write that down and put it up there. And one at a time, boom, boom, boom. Pretty soon they were doing all together, and conversations were breaking out. And they were talking with each other. Well, why don't you go in first and get that done? And then you'll be finished, and I can come in and I'll have the whole area. And they, yeah, that sounds great, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden they're getting along. And the owner's eyes are this big because they've been used to seeing these people at each other's throats. And by golly, short story, they finished on exactly September 9th. They finished 5 months of work in 3 months.
It's magical, isn't it?
It's people, it's collaborative people. And it requires good facilitation. You said that. You can't, you need to create a level playing field where it doesn't matter whether you're the general contractor, the owner, the subcontractor, the designer, everybody's got a voice, and it's a safe space, which is a phrase we didn't used to use very often because people thought it was touchy-feely or something.
Touchy-feely. Yeah. So you and I came in. So you came into the facilitation thing through the back door with this prison project. And when I first became part of LCI, the Lean Construction Institute, and taught at the congresses we met, I can remember the day when there weren't any workshops on soft skills
Yeah.
or the team dynamics. Now that's completely tipped. Uh, but you guys have taken it even further than just team
Yeah.
dynamics. So talk a little bit about some of the specialty skills that you guys have and how you've merged it with these technical skills.
One of the things we did was really good facilitation, and you don't just start out doing that. You have to kind of learn it, uh, and
Right.
uh, and you can learn it. I mean, there are classes, so you take the classes and all that, but you learn it by doing it also. And we got pretty good at it. I use the example of the PEN, PEN, preparation, enthusiasm, and neutrality as the essential elements of facilitation. You got to be prepared. You got to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
In my case, I prepared 42 years in construction, but I also prepared in knowing facilitation skills and human skills. And enthusiasm, you got to, if you're going to keep an audience going, you're going to keep a group of people collaborating and not wearing out after a couple hours. You got to have enthusiasm.
Right.
But you got to keep the neutral playing field, so that establishing and maintaining neutrality is a really essential element. And so I've gotten to the point we are now certified master facilitator here from INIFAC, International Institute of Facilitation. In fact, I just recently was asked to join their board. And just since COVID hit, they developed a certified virtual facilitator badge. And so I am now a certified virtual facilitator too. I know how to work Zoom but also how to actually, it ain't that easy. You've experienced this.
Oh, no.
We had to relearn everything.
Effective facilitation in looking at boxes is not an easy thing. But also you've made some other changes to support clients through COVID, and that's your online courses. So talk a little bit about those and what people can see there.
We are trainers and facilitators live or virtually on Zoom or Teams or wherever you want us. And we developed some workshops, virtual workshops, 1 hour, 2 hours each, to teach certain skills, including pool planning online, so people can do that. But we also, we had already had in development pre-COVID, thankfully, because it takes us a while to develop this, an online learning management system called Construction Accelerator. And it's 3 to 9 minute videos. So it's super fast, short attention span is all cool for everyone these days. And it's fast paced, deep learning, very visual, extremely visual, and there's no one droning on. It's someone called it the Reese's Pieces of lean design and construction.
I like it.
And we practically give it away because we figured out if we're really going to get lean penetrated throughout the industry all over the world, it's going to have to go online. So we did.
Right.
And so when we took our business online virtually, we learned how to develop trust on Zoom, and that's tricky. But we learned how to do it. So we're able to combine the Construction Accelerator videos with the workshops for an hour or two here and there, and then with the live facilitation that the teams work out their issues together and collaborate and in that safe space. So it's worked out pretty well.
If someone wants to contact you either for the lean side of it to help embed, how do we remove waste, add value, the team dynamic side, how do we work cohesively, or just the ongoing learning side, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
If the Construction Accelerator videos are a great start. The web address is try.ca now. CA is Construction Accelerator.
All right.
Try Construction Accelerator and trycanow.com. And then on the live facilitation side, it's Lean, Lean, California. spelled
Yeah.
out, leancalifornia.com. And we're looking forward to hearing from folks because it's a lot of fun to do this.
So you're also beginning to become more active on LinkedIn. I see that.
Yeah.
And so that's another place they can find you as well. Well, and I'll make it simple. I'll put all these links
Okay.
below in the YouTube posting that we have. And
Sounds
then
good.
any final kind of thought or just look down the road the next few months?
But one of the things we're learning is that there are a lot of companies out there who are doing coaching, internal coaching, but there are not a lot of thought about how do I coach coaches, you know?
Ah,
So
right.
coaches need coaches. And so we've begun to develop
Nice.
coaching for coaches as a part of one of our
Right.
offerings.
Well, Dan, thank you so much for the time and the energy you put into
Yes, sir.
this. And I'm looking forward to future collaboration and getting through this next year so that we can actually see each other face to face.
That will be so good.
Take care,
I'm
man.
looking forward. Thanks, Rex.
Yeah,
It's
you
great
bet.
to be with you as always.